Hi, once again, and welcome to another edition of DMS 3000 News. It's episode number 143 on this Thursday, March 21st, 2024. Glad you're back with us for another edition. Hope you had a great Wednesday with Brandon Martin yesterday. Thank you, Brandon, for filling in. And hopefully next week, Brian Snow will finally take the airwaves next Wednesday and have a shot at it this time. I know he was busy the last time. I'll get in touch with him for next week's program. If that can't happen, well, then not a problem. We could always go to Mark Leota or have Brandon Martin once again. Either way, we'll have somebody here for Wednesday's edition. And just to let you also know that we will not be here the week of Easter. That's right. We are taking a full week off for our Easter break. That's after the 31st. We'll be off from April 1st to April 5th. So no DMS, no Wipe Those Tears. And if the other programs are on, that's great. You might see some repeats here to fill in that time frame. You can, of course, check our back episodes for anything that you missed over the course of that time frame. But we're going to spend time with our family and friends, and we know I think you can agree that even the time off from this show is just a way just to kind of take a step back and kind of relax and not have to think about going on at 4 o'clock in the afternoon every day. But we're here for you. But even at that rate, we want to go ahead and take some time off. I still have some pressure washing that has to get done and some other things I want to get around the house. Spring cleanup. So spring break for me. And I'm going to go ahead and take much appreciated. Now, if any of my co-hosts want to take the whole week and do a DMS 3000 whole week of news, great. We'll set that up. However you want to do it. Whatever the case, whether we can find somebody or take the time off, I know you'll be back when we do go back officially on the 8th of April. Okay? Of course, I am the host of this great program, Jason DeCanio. And, I want to kind of discuss something before we even get to some of the articles today. From time to time, you have seen me blow up on specific topics or just giving the headlines and everything. And, my other board team players here, because we have a group that's led by David St. Dennis and, of course, Brandon Martin and Danny Lewis. They almost wanted to cut me down to 2 days a week because of my scheduling and everything. But, when you think about it, folks, I do work Wednesday through Sunday. Okay. And so the only days that I'm really affected by anything as far as during the week is Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. So even though I've got somebody to cover me on Wednesday, I still can still do Monday and Tuesday and Thursday and Friday. No problem. It's just a matter of coming back at 3 o'clock in the afternoon to do it. Also, too, we have the Dugout Crew starting next week. Who's going to be the host? Well, I can't say yet, but I know who's going to be the host. I'm not going to officially announce it. I'll have David announce it next week on the program. You'll just have to tune in to find out who we pick as the host of the Dugout Crew, the permanent host of the Dugout Crew. So that should be interesting. But as for this show, folks, let me tell you something. I can do this show 4 days a week. If I need to take a break here and there and have somebody cover for me, that's why I've got Brian Snow. That's why I've got Mark Leota. That is why I have Brandon Martin. If they're available, we can do it. And even if so, David St. Dennis wants to come on and do a town hall and kind of fill you in on some of the things that are going on at the David 3000 Network. Fair enough. Whatever the case, we'd like to set this time from 4 to 5:30 every day to give you some serious topics to think about, give you some important up-to-date information. And being this is an election year, that's why I'm getting a little bit tougher on it. And as we get closer to Election Day, I'm going to throw in some hard stuff for you. And one of the first articles I want to talk about is a thing that kind of bothered me a little bit yesterday. One of the senators, she's a very, very hard liberal senator. Her name is Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. She is let me make sure I get this right. She's New York's 14th district senator from the Democratic Party. And of course, she is one of the newest ones to come out of the generation of the newer senators. Well, one of the things you got to understand is if you're a senator, you must know your rules, your laws, what's a crime, and what isn't a crime. And Miss Cortez, Senator Cortez, I don't think you know anything about the laws, because one of the things that we're going to be talking to you about is a crime that is very, very, very obvious. It's called the Racketeer Influenced and Corrupt Organizations Act, or the RICO crime. The RICO crime. We're going to be looking at that, give you the details of it, and tell you she don't think that the RICO is a crime. It is a crime, okay? It says so right there in Wikipedia. It says so in definition. We'll give that very important topic first thing on the show in just a minute after the headlines and sports and other important information. Okay? And also, too, we have why does butter always taste better at restaurants? I think we talked about this sometime last year and haven't brought it up. But I thought this was a very interesting food article because I always think food articles are great. They help us prepare some tasty meals. And so here's an article about why butter always tastes better at restaurants. Maybe it's the way it's kept. Maybe it's been sitting out there for quite some time. Who knows? Who knows? But the bottom line is, we'll give you the reason why it tastes better at restaurants, okay? And then 11 net etiquette guidelines to follow for respectful online interactions. Folks, I can't tell you how many times many of us, especially in this community of the David 3000 Network and VG Productions and the 25, we're all part of that community of game show fanatics and just shows in general. We've all been trolled at one time or another. We've all been, exposed for being not too nice. And then we've had some really disgusting situations where people have just been accused of the stupidest things here. Well, we're going to give you 11 net etiquette guidelines to follow for respectful online interactions. But folks, bottom line is, if you're bullied online and you can handle it, go after the bully. Give them a taste of your own medicine. Spread something about them that's not true and see how they like it. And if they start blowing up, then you got them right there you have them at the mercy. You have them right where you want them, because a troll will always react so harshly. Oh, how could you say that about me? That's not true. Yeah, well, evidence has it right there, buddy. Timestamps don't lie. Transcripts don't lie. And you've been caught red-handed. So why don't you just give up? Take your defeat. Take your lumps for once. People are tired of having to walk away from the fights of life. Really, for once, if you know you've won the situation, folks, and your troll can't accept defeat, then he's a narcissist or she's a narcissist and wants attention. For that matter, walk away from it. But we'll talk about the net etiquette guidelines a little bit later on in the program. Of course, we have the disastrous headlines, which are terrible every day, and they get worse. Sports and other important information. What day is today? And the motivation of the day as well, too. We'll look at Ralph Marston and give you that fantastic last bit of great, hopeful, inspirational message that you can take with you wherever you go. Okay? We also have our marquee. David had a fantastic interview with Brendan Clichan yesterday from the Celtics. So I'm very happy that interview went well. And I was very happy about Wipe Those Tears last night because Jordy and Brandon Martin came in and substituted for Scott McVay and Gianni Pizzi. Those guys will be back next week. We only did 10 games, but we had a very, very relaxed time and checked out some pretty games. We're almost done with the Ks. We'll be going into the Ls pretty soon. So that's going to be fun. I hope you'll join us next week for episode 27 because we'll be taking a week off after that. So, it's one of those things where Easter is coming up. The holidays are here. Spring break is upon us. And I can tell you right now, for that matter, it's going to be a good one. I can tell you that. All right. Let's go now to the headlines for today. Let me set this up here. I didn't share screen this. Okay, here we go. These are the headlines today for March 21st, 2024, Thursday. All right, we are getting close to the weekend. Don't forget tomorrow, not really starts Palm Sunday weekend, but we'll talk a lot about what is Palm Sunday and get you ready for the Easter season with Holy Week all next week. Okay. Okay. Biden cancels nearly $6 billion in student debt for public service workers. And because of past administrative failures, the sum 78,000 affected public service workers, such as nurses and teachers, never got the relief they were entitled to under the law, Biden said. Theft in translation. Dodgers fire Shohei Ohtani's interpreter over gambling scandal. Yep. The Los Angeles Dodgers have fired Ippei Mizuhara. He gave conflicting accounts about paying large gambling debts. ESPN's Tisha Thompson tells NPR. Speaker Johnson to invite Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu to address Congress. Johnson's invitation comes as the debate about U.S. policy toward Israel has shifted since the war. GOP leaders are emphasizing their support for Netanyahu and highlighting a divide among Democrats. Reddit stock starts trading 38% above initial public offering price. Reddit, the San Francisco social media site that describes itself as the front page of the internet, is debuting as a public stock on Thursday. The U.S. sues Apple, saying it abuses its power to monopolize the smartphone market. The federal government accuses Apple of using its monopoly power to stomp out competitors and keep customers from switching phones. Meet Europe's first black head of government in Wales. I have the honor of becoming the first black leader in a European country, he said upon taking office. Whoa. DeSantis is prepping for a wave of Haitian migrants. Advocates say he's grandstanding. Florida's governor is deploying troops and law enforcement officers to intercept any migrants coming by boat from Haiti. Some Haitian American leaders say it's more about politics than being prepared. Let me tell you something right now, folks. Governor DeSantis is doing his job, okay? He's taking more responsibility than that dumbass in the White House while he's sitting there licking his ice cream. You know, the governors in the red states are taking care of their states and taking care of their people, which is exactly what the blue state governors should be doing as well. But no. They're going to sit there and say the red governors are out of order, out of their jurisdiction. They have no right to do this and keep people from coming into the country. Dude, let me tell you something. The countries right now around the world are having issues because of Biden's policies. And they're all flocking over here to this state, to the country, to try to overtake us. Now, if you want your freedom, if you want your life, and spare your life and take care of your family, you'll do everything you can to defend it. And for all you people out there, those are illegal aliens, you know, especially the one who wants to squat houses, I got a message for you. Come to my property, you're going to get a shovel to your face, buddy. That's right. Because we're not going to tolerate your little crappy business. And we'll send you back to it in a body bag. How about that? Okay? How about it? Tough guy from Venezuela. Huh? You think you got the balls to stand up to American people? Oh, yeah, you got balls, all right. But I'll tell you right now, one wrong move from you, and you're going to get it, my friend. And you might find it the hard and painful way. Okay? That's a warning to everybody out there, those illegal immigrants. You start in with us, we're gonna take you down. Because I look at some of these people, they ain't bodybuilders. They're starved, deprived, little puny pieces of garbage. Yeah. Oh, you can call me racist. You can call me prejudiced. Let me tell you something. If you can't fight a twat, a little kid, and you're a big 300-pound person, and you're letting a 150-pound weakling beat the heck out of you and allowing that to happen because you're afraid of going to jail and you don't want to stand up for yourself and whoever else is around you, then you got no balls, friend. No balls whatsoever. The French Bulldog stays at the top of U.S. dog owners' hearts. The dog, popularly known as the Frenchie, has held its crown as America's most popular dog breed for the second year in a row, according to the American Kennel Club. Alabama bans DEI initiatives. Why users don't want Reddit to go public. Alabama's governor signed into law a ban on DEI initiatives. Reddit debuts on the New York Stock Exchange this morning, and many users are not happy. Congress unveils final spending package as Friday midnight deadline looms. The text accounting for about 3/4 of all federal discretionary spending was released early Thursday. Now lawmakers are racing against the clock to vote before Friday midnight deadline. Native Americans are hardest hit by syphilis surge. Rates are so bad in Native American communities that public health experts have asked the federal government to declare an emergency. Inadequate prenatal care may be partly to blame. This year, it's a slow crawl to financial aid packages for students. Colleges are just beginning to receive long overdue FAFSA data. Meanwhile, students who have been accepted to college still face weeks before they receive aid offers. U.S. life expectancy rebounded in 2022, but COVID and drug overdoses were still deadly. As the COVID pandemic faded in 2022, U.S. life expectancy rose by more than a year. But the virus and drug overdoses spurred by fentanyl still took nearly 300,000 lives. And who's to blame for that? Joe Biden. Yep. Ain't Donald Trump. No. Don't go blaming Trump for that. He had a plan of action. You guys mistook it because the media forced you into believing that it was Trump's problem and and all this stuff. But Biden didn't do anything better. So you can't blame Trump because it was handed off to Biden, and Biden just sat there and licking his ice cream cone. That's all he's going to do, is he's going to lick an ice cream cone in your face and point a finger to your nose and say, "You're no good, you little guy." That's right. You're no good because you don't know how to live like a true communist person. That's right, for what it's worth. These four stars are poised for a deep run in March Madness. Here's who to watch. It's been a banner year for women's college basketball. Now with March Madness upon us, we've talked with some of the star players ready to go big in the NCAA tournament. Artificial intelligence images and conspiracy theories are driving a push for media literacy education. One of the nation's best-known media literacy events for high school students is expanding as demand grows for skills to identify deep fake images and online conspiracy theories. With a federal menthol ban looming, tobacco companies push non-menthol substitutes. The alternatives have a similar taste, packaging, and marketing. Anti-smoking activists say this is a way to get around state and federal bans. It's all money, folks. The best thing you could do is stop smoking. Okay? Stop freaking smoking. Quit, for crying out loud. Go chew a piece of gum. Stop giving these tobacco companies your hard-earned money. They don't care about the health and safety of your body. They never did. Even though they have given you all these anti-smoking things, all these things to help you quit. Meanwhile, the money's still pouring in because you're highly addicted to it. Just figure out a way to just quit cold turkey. Go chew a piece of gum. Do something healthy. Go exercise. Do something. Stop smoking. Stop drinking. Stop giving these freaking companies your hard-earned money. Real simple. Do a Bud Light thing. You didn't like the way it was? Stop drinking Bud Light. That's it. Senators push to declassify TikTok Intel and hold a public hearing ahead of ban vote. Senators who attended a classified intelligence briefing focused on TikTok's influence say the public should get the same information. There's bipartisan support for a vote on a House bill on the app. Well, look, folks, I don't use TikTok. Now, I've been told by our community that there are some people in our community that use it. I highly hope that you are being very careful of how you interpret things on TikTok and are not getting this, brainwashed by what's going on there. And if you're making money on this platform, for your sake, do it safely, please. You don't want to fall into that situation. I don't trust it one bit. So I don't even install it on my phone. I blocked it on my phone permanently. It's tried to install itself, but I've uninstalled it and I've sent it back with feedback saying, no, I don't want this. And you're not going to force me to have it either. There's other ways to get around these things, other social media platforms that are much safer that you can go out there and do your thing on. Okay. Rupert Murdoch, a new Washington Post CEO accused of cover-up in hacking scandal. Oh, jeez. For the first time, the media titan was accused in court of knowing about massive British tabloid hacking scandal and helping to cover it up. The new leader of the Washington Post was named too. See, I think, folks, look, we all rely on newspapers, magazines, and some sort of literacy to get our information. But we realize that it's all one-sided. I don't read a dang newspaper anymore because they're all one-sided, and it's not the right side. I'm sorry, it's not conservative. I get my information from conservative sources, and then I draw my own conclusions. And I still even have a question or two about that as well. But most of the time, I can read it with fair accuracy and make a pretty good decision on how I'm going to go about my business. Whatever you decide to do, please do the right thing. Idaho police search for escaped inmate and accomplice after ambush at Boise Hospital. A white supremacist Idaho prison gang member and an accomplice were on the loose after the accomplice staged an overnight attack to free the inmate as he was being moved from a hospital, police said. California voters passed Proposition 1 to tackle the state's homelessness crisis. Well, it's about time, Mr. Newsom. You did something about it. Wow. Counties must spend about 2/3 of the money from a tax enacted from mental health services on housing and programs for homeless people with serious mental illnesses or substance abuse problems. Worst case scenario, California, you got a decision to make. You got illegal immigrants coming into your state, and Gavin Newsom is just smiling right now. He doesn't give two bits about you. If I were you, I would move out of California right now and get out while you still have your sanity. Get out while you still have a house, let alone get out safely, because it's going to be civil war over there in California. Come to Florida. We got all the great stuff over here. And the weather is just as nice as it is over there in California, minus the earthquakes. We have hurricanes. Well, we can deal with that a lot better than an earthquake. You know what I mean? Emmett Walsh, actor from Blood Simple and Blade Runner, has passed away at the age of 88. Walsh died from cardiac arrest on Tuesday at a hospital in St. Albans, Vermont, his longtime manager Sandy Joseph said. And finally, protests in Cuba, results of the World Happiness Report. In Cuba, protests over the weekend revealed frustrations over shortages of food and electricity as the country confronts a serious economic crisis. And the World Happiness Report tells of interesting differences in happiness between generations. Wow. And there you have it, folks. The interesting but very confrontational headlines for today, March 21st, 2024. Let's go to sports now. The NBA. I tell you, we're winding down the games to the regular season. The playoffs are going to be starting pretty soon. So let's take a look at the games from last night. It was the Heat over the Cavaliers, 107-104. Pistons beat the Pacers, 122-103. The Celtics, they hand the Bucks another loss, 122-119. The Celtics are just dominating, folks. Can't stop them. Kings over the Raptors, 123-89. It was the Thunder over the Jazz, 119-107. Suns over the 76ers, 115-102. Clippers over the Trailblazers, 116-103. And the Warriors take care of the Grizzlies, 137-116. Tonight's games have the Kings at the Wizards. Tip-off is at 7 o'clock. Pelicans will take on the Magic at 7. Bulls at the Rockets at 8 o'clock. Nets will, if they want to show up, I say just forfeit the game. You know you're going to lose. They face the Bucks in Milwaukee at 8 o'clock tonight. Jazz at the Mavericks at 8:30. Knicks at the Nuggets at 9 o'clock, and the Hawks will take on the Suns at 10:30. And I say that religiously because the Bucks are going to just chop them down. Ain't going to score 100 points. And as far as I'm concerned, the Brooklyn Nets season is over, folks. It ain't going nowhere. I don't think it had any life to go with it, too. Not after Jacques Vaughn's, firing. So, no way. Okay. Let's go to NHL. Maple Leafs over the Capitals, 7-3. It was the Stars over the Coyotes, 5-2, and the Kings beat the Wild, shut them out 6-0. Tonight's games have the Flyers at the Hurricanes. Face-off is at 7 o'clock. Jets at the Devils at 7. Rangers at the Bruins. Blues at the Senators. Islanders at the Red Wings. Predators at the Panthers, that's a 7:30 start. Sabres at the Oilers at 9. Blackhawks at the Ducks at 10. Canadians at the Canucks at 10 o'clock. Lightning will take on the Sharks at 10:30. And the Kraken and the Golden Knights, two expansion teams facing off each other in Las Vegas at 10:30. Okay, folks, we're officially, they say we're at the start of the regular season, but there's still spring training games going on. But there was one game yesterday that was an actual game that took place for the regular season. And I think it was the Dodgers and the Padres. So let's go back up to yesterday's games, but look at the spring training. We've got 1 week officially, 7 days to the first to opening day. Tigers beat the Twins 12-3. It was the Braves over the Blue Jays 10-9. Mets 6, Marlins 3. Rangers over the Reds 8-1. Reds in the split squad beat the White Sox 3-1. And the Athletics over the Cubs 3-1. Diamondbacks 5, Rockies 1. Giants 5, Angels 2. Cardinals over the Nationals 13-4. Orioles over the Phillies 13-4. It was the Yankees shutting out the Pirates 12-0, and the Angels and Royals end up in an 8-8 tie. Today in spring training, there were some finals. Rays over the Phillies 6-5. Mets over the Tigers 10-5. Nationals 9, Twins 8. It was the Astros over the Cardinals 9-1. The Braves over the Yankees 5-2. At 4:05 today, you have the Royals and the Guardians. That game should be starting. White Sox and the Royals at 4:05. The Cubs and the Rockies 0-0, bottom of the first. Orioles at the Red Sox at 6:05. Blue Jays at the Pirates 6:05. Giants at the Brewers 9:10. And the Reds will take on the Mariners at 9:40 today. Now, there was a game. I want to say there was an actual game. And I don't know if it's, it was National League. Okay. Yes. Dodgers and the Padres. And I think the Dodgers won that game. Yes. So officially, they lost each game. Yeah, let me see what happened here. Okay. Let's see. Yeah. Okay, here we go. So the two regular season games that officially started yesterday for the Dodgers and the Padres. The Dodgers won the first game 5-2, and the Padres won the second game when they reversed home and away is 15-11. Okay, so that's taking care of that. And you have that for the regular season as well. Okay, very good, folks. Thank you very much here. Now for the important information. As I mentioned before, we're getting close to Palm Sunday weekend. Yep, and the Stanley Cup playoffs too. Don't forget that. Pretty soon. You're right about that, Brandon. Thank you. But I wanted to mention that, Palm Sunday weekend's coming up this weekend. Then we go all of Holy Week, and we'll talk about Holy Thursday. We'll talk about Good Friday. We'll have the banners up and everything. The backgrounds will change. And then we go into the Easter season with Easter Sunday. And folks, for some of you only celebrate 4 Sundays of Easter. Others, like myself, celebrate 7 Sundays of Easter. So don't, like Christmas, start acting like, well, we'll have Easter decorations up one day and then take them down the next day. Folks, look, keep your Easter decorations up until probably about, I would say May or the middle of May, till at least Pentecost. If you're thinking about that, that's something, I know everybody's a little different on it, but everybody starts keeping their stuff up because it is spring holiday. And I think at this point in time, we need a break from the winter cold that we've had almost most of the winter season. It's been a rough one for most people. So I think the break with the decorations kind of gives it a sense of what a break, right? So in that case, enjoy it. Take time out there. Have some Easter candy. Go a little off from your diet. I'm going to go off a little bit of my diet too. I'm going to have some Cadbury cream eggs. I'm going to get some myself, basically put them in the refrigerator before they run out. I know I might be gaining a pound or two, but you know what? Easter Sunday is one of the holidays that I take very, very seriously for my religion. So I'm going to enjoy it as much as I did Christmas time. Okay. When we come back, we'll look at that first article, the Racketeer Influenced and Corruption Organizations Act, or the RICO Act. We're going to look at it and break it down and tell you that it is a crime. If it's abused, you can go to jail for it. Not according to Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. She says it's not a crime. Well, Miss Cortez, or Senator Cortez, we're going to prove you wrong, and we're going to talk about it when we come back with more DMS news right after this.
I asked for a tomato. I don't see any lettuce. How much?
At 7-Eleven, we believe the best burgers are the burgers you fix yourself. And when it comes to fixing, we got them all. Onion, pickle, lettuce, an extra slice of tomato. However you like your burger, that's how you get it at 7-Eleven. For only 99 cents, it's probably the best burger you ever made. At 7-Eleven, get the good things easy.
Love that D'Agostino, love that dag. Recipe for fun is in the dag bag. Love those veggies, oh, love that meat. Enough of this lovemaking, what do you say we eat? So please, Mr. D'Agostino, move closer to me.
USDA Choice Beef Shoulder for London Broil, $1.89 a pound at D'Agostino.
Mirror, mirror on the wall, just said your breath's the worst of all.
Brush your breath, brush your breath, brush your breath with Dentine.
Hey, a kiss for charity is really fine, but breath like yours isn't worth a dime.
Brush your breath, brush your breath, brush your breath with Dentine.
Not even mouthwash can freshen your breath more effectively than when you're chewing Dentine.
That baby's cute as a bunny rabbit, but he smelled your breath and let you have it.
Brush your breath, brush your breath, brush your breath with Dentine.
Ace is the place you come to for everything you're looking for. Ace is the place that lends a helping hand. Ace is the place.
For Ace Best Buys like an Ever-Ready 7-Way Light for $9.44.
Ace is the place.
And Ace Propane Torch Kit for $7.77. And keep tools at hand with a handyman holster and free belt for $6.77.
Ace is the place with the help of hardware.
This is the Micro Machine Man presenting the most midget miniature motorcade of Micro Machines. Each one has dramatic details, terrific trim, precision paint jobs, plus incredible Micro Machine pocket playsets. There's a police station, fire station, restaurant, service station, and more. Perfect pocket portables to take any place. And there are many miniature playsets to play with, and each one comes with its own special edition Micro Machine vehicle and fun, fantastic features that miraculously move. Raise the boat lift at the airport marina, man the gun turret at the army base, clean your car at the car wash, raise the toll bridge. And these playsets fit together to form a Micro Machine world. Micro Machine pocket playsets, so tremendously tiny, so perfectly precise, so dazzlingly detailed, you'll want to pocket them all. Micro Machines and Micro Machine pocket playsets sold separately from Galoob. The smaller they are, the better they are. Personalized Levi's 501 Buttonfly 501 Levi's.
Okay, welcome back to DMS 3000 News. Episode 143 is back and ready to go with the first article of the day. Yes, indeed. And we're going to be talking about the Racketeer Influenced and Corrupt Organizations Act. It's a little thing that Senator Cortez thinks is not a crime. Well, I'm sorry to say this, Senator Cortez. We're going to give you the real reason about this, and maybe you should be listening about this as well, too. So, the Racketeer Influenced and Corrupt Organizations Act, or the RICO Act, is a United States federal law that provides for extended criminal penalties and a civil cause of action for acts performed as part of an ongoing criminal organization. It was enacted by Title IX of the Organized Crime Control Act of 1970 and is codified at 18 U.S.C. Chapter 96. Okay, this article primarily covers the federal criminal statute, but since 1972, 33 U.S. states and territories have adopted state RICO laws, which, although similar, cover additional state crimes and may differ from the federal law and each other in several respects. George Robert Blakely, or G. Robert Blakely, okay, Blakey, an advisor to the United States Senate Governor Operations Committee, drafted the law under the close supervision of the committee's chairman, Senator John L. McClellan. It was signed into law by U.S. President Richard Nixon. Prosecutors in the 1970s used it to prosecute the mafia as well as others who were actively engaged in organized crime. In later years, prosecutors have applied the law more broadly. Since 1972, 33 states have adopted state RICO laws, and this article deals primarily with the federal act. Under RICO, a person who has committed at least 2 acts of racketeering activity drawn from a list of 35 crimes, 27 federal and 8 state, within a 10-year period can be charged with racketeering if such acts are related in one of 4 specified ways to an enterprise. Now, folks, here's the bottom line. She is accusing former President Donald Trump of this so-called act, and he's never been prosecuted. Yet she says it's not a crime. Okay? You double negative yourself once again there, you Democratic boomhead. And we caught you. Okay? Why don't you just fess up and say you don't know anything about the laws there, Miss Senator from New York? You are ashamed. You are an exposed person. Okay? Now, to continue on. Those found guilty can be fined up to $25,000 and sentenced to 20 years in prison per racketeering count if he was ever indicted, which he wasn't. In addition, the racketeer must forfeit all ill-gotten gains and interest in any business gained through a pattern of racketeering activity. So what she was accusing former President Donald Trump basically was of all of his racketeering, all of his business deals as organized crime. First of all, Donald Trump did not have people assassinated. He didn't have bounties on people. He made his money with honest businessmen, okay? Something that the freaking people in the federal government don't know a damn thing about honesty when it comes to money, okay? That's why Trump is as successful as he was, and that's why you want just a piece of his money, and he won't give you nothing of it, okay? This is the reason why, folks, we voted in Trump, because he knows how to deal the right way with these crony, counterfeit assholes in the White House and the Senate and the House of Representatives, Democrat and Republican. Now, a U.S. attorney who indicts someone under the RICO has the option of seeking a pretrial restraining order or an injunction to temporarily seize the defendant's assets and prevent the transfer of potentially fortifiable property, as well as to require the defendant to put up a performance bond. An injunction or performance bond ensures that there is something to seize in the event of a guilty verdict. But first of all, folks, let me put it to you this way. Donald Trump may have been allegedly accused of these things, but he was never found guilty. He was only indicted, and it never went any further than that. You must understand that he never was found guilty of this stuff. Okay? Never found guilty of it. If anybody out there says that he was guilty of it, I'd like to have this scumbag on my program in the next near future. Come on. I guarantee you. You want to have a debate about it? You think that Donald Trump is a crony person? Well, look at Joe Biden, okay? Joe Biden has been covered up so many times by his son and all the entire family, and you think that's okay? Well, right here, folks, we're giving you what the RICO law states. And this is it. This is coming from the Wikipedia. It could probably come from another document as well. Here we go. Continuing on. This provision prevented the owners of mafia-related shell corporations from absconding with assets. Now, in many cases, the threat of a RICO indictment can force defendants to plead guilty to lesser charges, in part because the seizure of assets would make it difficult to pay a defense attorney. And despite its harsh provisions, our RICO-related charge is considered easy to prove in court because it focuses on patterns of behavior as opposed to criminal acts. So let me ask you this, folks. You really think that Donald Trump had involved himself in criminal activity over the time that he was president? Why? Because you hate the guy? Why? Because you had freedoms? You had lower gas prices? You didn't have inflation? You didn't have wars? You didn't have violence? No. You think because we have to have violence and hatred and all this other stuff and division in our country, that's why you continue to vote Democrat. You ought to be ashamed of yourselves. You voted this in if you voted for Biden 4 years ago. Excuse me. So, I'm not trying to tell you that, fault of it. It's somebody's fault out there because I didn't vote for Biden. I knew the guy was a crony long time ago. Okay, I grew up knowing that Senator Joe Biden was a crony person. Look at when he was vice president, how crony he was with Obama. Okay, that should have given you the indication right there that if he ever became president, it was going to be 10 times worse. I said it 9 to 10 years ago that if Joe Biden gets into the office of president, you're going to see the same thing you did 9, 10 years ago when President Obama was the head of the country. But nobody wanted to believe me. Nobody wanted to. And you know what? I wanted a formal apology from every scumbag who told me I was wrong. I want a formal apology from all of you. I'm not expecting it, but why don't you come on the show and apologize and say, you were right. You were right. Maybe then, But I'll tell you right now, folks, I'm not looking for recognition. I'm not looking for your sympathy. And I don't care whether or not you agree with me on it. These are the facts. This is what the law is. If you can't follow the law and understand it from top to bottom, from beginning to end, then go back and start reading it and understanding it, because this could affect the future mafia that's out there right now. And if they don't hide to this law, it's going to be up their hockey butts. Okay? Now, there must be one of 4 specified relationships between the defendants and the enterprise. Either the defendants invested the proceeds of the pattern of racketeering activity into the enterprise, acquired or maintained an interest in or control of the enterprise through a pattern of racketeering activity, conducted or participated in the affairs of the enterprise through the pattern of racketeering activity, or conspired to do one of the above. Now, the U.S. Supreme Court noted that a commentator had used the term prize, instrument, victim, or perpetrator for these 4 relationships. Now, RICO also permits a private individual damaged in his business or property by a racketeer to file a civil suit. So you know what? Former President Donald Trump can file a civil suit against everyone who accused him of a RICO crime. That's right, you airheads. You didn't know that they had repercussions. Dumb Democrats you are. Oh, yeah. Because once he gets into the presidency, he's coming after all of you. And I wish he will come after all of you and stick it right back into you and drive a nail right hard into the coffin and put you guys under the bed forever and put you in jail. And maybe all you should spend a night in jail and see how it feels, okay? The plaintiff must prove the existence of an enterprise. The defendants are not the enterprise. In other words, the defendants and the enterprise are not one and the same. A civil RICO action can be filed in state or federal court. Both the criminal and the civil components allow the recovery of treble damages, triple the amount of actual compensatory damages. And although its primary intent was to deal with organized crime, that's like the mafia, Blakey said that Congress never intended it merely to apply to the mob. He once told Time, "We don't want one set of rules for people whose collars are blue or whose names end in vowels, and another set for those whose collars are white and have Ivy League diplomas." On December 1st, 1977, the federal grand jury in the Eastern District of Louisiana indicted 13 defendants, Robert J. L. Hoist and Company, Inc., for conspiracy and racketeering activity. Now, after the defendants moved to dismiss the indictment for overbreadth and vagueness, the grand jury returned a superseding indictment on February 27th of 1978. This is going back almost 40 years, folks, but it happened. Charging the same offenses and naming 11 defendants, including the appellants. The district court denied a motion to dismiss the superseding indictment, and the first RICO trial commenced on March 13th, 1978. The jury convicted the 4 appellants and another corporation on both the conspiracy and racketeering counts. May of 79, prosecutor Mark L. Webb, Northern District of California, conducted RICO trial, United States versus Sam Bailey Gang. The successful prosecution used the RICO statute to allege that a gang of postal burglars and a Nevada fence collaborated criminally in an organized crime fashion. The case did not involve a mafia crime family. Like they said, it doesn't have to result to the mafia. Could be anything. Subsequently, the U.S. Attorney's Office for the Eastern District of Arkansas used the RICO Act on October 2nd, 1978 to indict officers of Local 1292 of the Laborers International Union of North America. So it could be labor unions, it could be police, it could be any kind of organization, company that is dealing in organized crime. That doesn't necessarily mean mafias killing people and putting bounties on everybody and controlling parts of the country here. It could be anything. So, I'm running out of time here, but you get the idea, folks. First of all, like I said before, once again, Senator Cortez, you need to read all of this, okay? There are provisions here and other things in cases that, if we had more time to look at them, you should be able to know the difference between what's a RICO crime and what's not, okay, my dear Senator? Okay, I'm very appalled and very disappointed that you went to college to study to become a politician, and a corrupt one at that. Because I think you're probably more corrupt and have something that you eventually are going to get accused of later in your lifetime. You're young right now, and you've got some kind of brains in there, but you represent a state that is so left-wing liberal, you might as well just join the governor, the mayor, and the attorney general, because you're all got narcissistic minds. Anyways, that's part of the RICO problem, the RICO situation. And for that matter, yes, RICO racketeering is a type of fraud, I think. Yes, it is. It is a type of fraud. But here's the thing. The former president is getting accused of this. At the same time, they're going after the sitting president. And Senator Cortez is asking about what the former president did instead of asking about the sitting president. Who the heck's on trial here, Miss Cortez? Joe Biden and his cronies are on trial, okay? Former President Trump is not on trial for RICO, okay? Yet it is a crime, but he's not on trial for it. So please understand that you have everything backwards, you're twisting everything, and you need to stop this, because you can be held in contempt of court, and you should be held in contempt for asking stupid questions that don't pertain to the person who they are talking about. Okay? You watch what Tony Bobulinski said yesterday. You're seeing that he's trying to answer the question, and Senator Cortez continuously cuts him off. Why? Because he's a Democratic, liberal, scumbag, narcissistic idiot who has no idea about any kind of crime whatsoever, or who the heck's on trial for that matter. Okay? This is who you voted in, in New York, people. You voted in idiots, incompetent people. And I am not proud to be a New Yorker ever again. Yeah, I'm a native, but I'm not proud of what I've seen, that you totally destroyed the state of New York for it. Okay? Enough about that. It's over with. When we come back, I told you, friends, we're going to be hitting some hard subjects in these next couple of months. Get ready. It's not going to be easy, and it's not going to be hard. It's not going to be one of those things. I will say what I have to say about it. You will hear me out on it. I will give you the right information so that you can make the sound decisions. I want you to make the sound good decisions. Your future depends on what we're going to be voting on in November. Your future depends on it, not your parents' future. Your parents' future is already, they know what they're going to be doing. Retirement, They're not going to be here forever. You have to think about what you're going to be doing in the next 30 to 40, even 50 years from now, and how it's all going to play out. So think about that. I challenge you to think about that. We'll be back with why butter always tastes better at restaurants. We'll be right back with more DMS 3000 news right after this.
Bacon! Bacon! Where's the bacon? I smell bacon! 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 Gotta be bacon! Only one thing smells like bacon! That's bacon! Bacon, 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 bacon! There! From that bag! What's it say? I can't read! Please, please, give me what's in the bag! Chewy, yummy, smoky bacon!
There you go.
Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy! No, 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 no! It's bacon!
No, it's Bacon Strips, brand dog snack from Purina. Bacon Strips. Dogs don't know it's not bacon.
It's bacon!
Once you find yourself in the middle of most sandwich cookies, you'll find there's not so much middle in the middle.
Oi, you're telling me.
But now there's new cookies and cream Dunkaroos. You can make a sandwich cookie with as much frosting as you want in the middle. Because you take special chocolatey cookies and dunk them into creamy white frosting, then put them together for a sandwich cookie that puts you in the middle of a lot of fun. New cookies and cream Dunkaroos. Lots of middle.
Lots of fun.
They left the dance floor empty. That mob just wouldn't rest. Seems the sauce on Lester's chicken just hadn't passed the test. Suddenly they hushed and turned to a stranger on the hill who with a double dose of bullseye said, "Go on. Fire up that grill." Well, they poured it on and their smiles said yes. That big bold taste tasted best. The big bold taste of bullseye tastes the best. Now try new bullseye steakhouse style. Steak never had it so bold.
Hello. Gotham Corner Store? Yes, we seem to be down to our last Diet Coke. A gentleman is on his way to pick some up. Just look for a black car. No, this black car will be rather difficult to miss. And by the way, the gentleman is usually in quite a rush.
Just for the taste of it, Diet Coke.
Well, actually, Steve, women know the answer, topping. The only question is, when you're making a really special dessert, would you dare use Dream Whip instead of whipped cream? Well, those who use Dream Whip know the answer is yes. Dream Whip has all the flavor richness of whipped cream, real country fresh flavor. And you just watch what happens when you add Dream Whip to your favorite pudding. Suddenly, it's parfait, and a beautiful parfait at that. Or why don't you take a look at what happens to pie when you add Dream Whip? Abracadabra, pie a la mode, Dream Whip style. Positively delicious, too. Dream Whip is always fresh because Dream Whip is the whipped topping mix that stays fresh on your shelf. Calories, only 14 to a tablespoon. So change simple desserts into special ones. Dream Whip, with all the flavor richness of whipped cream. Try it on tomorrow's desserts.
Which came first, the chicken or the egg? Well, at Carvel, it really doesn't matter. I'm Cookie Chick. That's right, Cookie Chick. And both the chocolate-covered egg and myself are custom-decorated Carvel ice cream cakes, made fresh daily at participating Carvel ice cream stores for Easter.
Now, would you like to send one to a friend? Please call the toll-free number that you see listed here, and we honor most major credit cards. Thank you.
Okay, on a much lighter story that we're going to be covering for you tonight or this afternoon, why butter always tastes better at restaurants. New Baiweek. Nubaiq is the author of this article from sometime last year. I think we covered this, but let's go ahead and cover it again. I think it's a fantastic article. It's not your imagination. Restaurant butter tastes better. But the big secret is that you can get butter to taste just as good at home. They say that everything's better with butter, and it's hard not to agree. The best tasting butter can make just about anything sing. Think about what a pat or two of butter can do for bland, starchy foods like rice, noodles, and potatoes. You might not ordinarily think of eating an entire basket of bread, but serve it alongside a bowl of restaurant butter, and it becomes downright irresistible. Such is the power of butter. But do you need to visit your favorite restaurant to enjoy the best butter of your life? Nope. Yes, professional chefs know a few butter hacks, including how to refrigerate it properly, but you can easily learn them. And lucky for you, we're about to reveal all those tricks. Here are the secrets behind restaurant butter, along with a few helpful food facts so you can taste the magic anytime you please. Let's get one thing straight. The notion of better is entirely subjective. So there are many different reasons someone might believe restaurant butter tastes better than what they're eating at home. Not only that, but all restaurants serve different brands and styles of butter. A fast service restaurant like a diner may serve prepackaged pats of ice cold butter. A farm-to-table bistro might make its own butter for smearing on house-made bread. And while a steakhouse may serve softened compound butters for melting on sizzling hot steaks, here are a few different reasons why your favorite restaurant butter might stand out from the rest. I think restaurant butter often tastes better because it has a higher butterfat percentage, says Luke Ilardo, head baker and owner of Doppio Pasticcera. Is that right? Pasticcera in Baltimore. Most grocery stores offer 80% butterfat, but through our distributors, we can pretty easily find up to 86% butterfat. The higher butterfat will lend to a richer butter. When butter is being served as a key part of a main dish, like smeared on artisanal toast or melted into a pool for dipping lobster, chefs treat it as an ingredient, not an afterthought. Butter isn't left alone. It's tasted and seasoned so that it perfectly complements everything else on the plate. And the most common seasoning to make restaurant butter taste better shouldn't come as much of a surprise. Proper salt levels make everything taste better, says Ilardo. And depending on whether a dish is sweet or savory, salt can enhance desirable tasting notes when minimizing others. The key is the amount of salt used. So for a butter-heavy dish like brioche col tupo, we use a high butterfat butter and proper levels of salt. Now, butter is a little more than a big block of fat, and fats are excellent at absorbing odors. If unwrapped or partially wrapped butter sits in your fridge long enough, it will begin to taste like whatever it is in your fridge smells like. And even if your fridge is immaculate, that's not good. In restaurants, however, unwrapped butter rarely lasts for long, and the odds of it sticking around long enough to pick up odd refrigerator odors are slim. You shouldn't need to go to a restaurant to enjoy high-quality butter whenever you've got a craving, and you don't have to. Try these tips to get restaurant-style butter at home. Standard supermarket butter is fine for when you're cooking or baking, but if you're buying butter to slather on toast or toss with piping hot noodles, spend a little extra money and treat yourself to something nice. Butters with a higher fat content taste more luscious, while grass-fed butters have a richer, more complex flavor. They might cost a little more than regular butter, but trust us, they're worth it. High butterfat butters are typically marketed as European style and can often come in a large log or roll as opposed to half-cup sticks, says Ilardo. And also, many farmers market dairy vendors will offer butter, and buying directly from the producer, particularly a small scale, market-oriented producer, is a great way to ensure quality. For long-term storage, keeping your butter in the fridge or freezer is best. But if you're planning to smear it on bread, waffles, or whatever else tickles your fancy, let it sit out for a little while till it comes to room temperature. As long as your kitchen is at a comfortable temperature, leaving your butter out on the counter for at least 20 minutes will make it perfectly spreadable. You can leave any remaining butter out on the counter for another day or two as long as you think you'll use it up. Otherwise, put it back in the fridge, since butter left out for more than 2 days can begin developing off flavors. If you're storing your butter outside your fridge, opt in for salted butter, because since salt makes the butter inhospitable to bacteria, of course, you should also pay strict attention to butter expiration dates. Wish you could enjoy fancy flavored butters at home? Well, you can. All you need is a mixer. Using a stand or handheld mixer, whip softened, unsalted butter on medium speed till it's broken up. Then add the flavorings of your choice. I like a good garlic butter for garlic bread, by the way. There's really no formula here, so feel free to experiment. Try drizzling in a bit of maple syrup with a pinch of pumpkin pie spices to taste. A mess of chopped fresh herbs, or some softened crumbly cheese like blue cheese or cheddar. Now, if the restaurant butter you love is light and fluffy, it's because it's been whipped, and it's super easy to do. Simply beat slightly softened butter, leave it on the counter for about 10 minutes or so on medium speed, which will incorporate thousands of tiny air bubbles that will make your butter spectacularly spreadable. And you can do this with either salted or unsalted butter, but if you use the latter, give it a taste before serving. You might want to whip it in a pinch or two of high-quality salt, like sea salt, to punch up the flavor. Whipped butter should be stored in the fridge in an airtight container. Do this, and it will actually stay good for months. Luca Lardo, he is the chef and owner of Doppio Pasticceria in Baltimore, specializing in Sicilian-style baked goods made from hyper-local ingredients, sourcing nearly all his ingredients from the greater Chesapeake region. Lardo takes the meaning of from scratch, baking to heart, milling his own grains for breads, and making his own cheeses with milk from local dairies. There you go. And there you have it, folks. Why butter tastes better in the restaurant, but you can do some pretty good fancy stuff with the butters you have at home. Yes. Emu says yes, especially the butter at Texas Roadhouse. Love that butter. There you go. Try the butter at Outback. Really good for that brown bread. Really good. You should try that one too there, Emu. All right, when we come back, we'll look at our third article, which is the 11 net etiquette guidelines to follow for respective online interactions. We'll give you as many as we possibly can before the 5:15 break, but right now we're at the 5 o'clock time, and that means it's break time, and we'll be back with more of DMS 3000 News right after this.
Nice steaks, Uncle Charlie.
Nice. They're beautiful, thick, tender, fresh, and broiled to perfection. And now for dinner, Monday through Friday, it's all you can eat of Beef Steak Charlie's famous sirloin steak, plus unlimited shrimp and salad, a baked potato, and beer, wine, or sangria with dinner, all for just $11.99. All the steak you want, you've got.
Uncle Charlie, how do you do it?
Chuck, I had to cut your salary. At Beef Steak Charlie's, we won't stop giving until you say Uncle.
This man is responsible for the most successful Oriental restaurants in America. For 20 years, if you wanted great Oriental food, you'd go to him.
Now, I'll come to you.
With 4 more Benihana frozen Oriental restaurant classics. Shrimp and lobster sauce, Szechuan beef, roast pork lo mein, roast pork with Chinese vegetables. We've taken your favorite Oriental restaurant food and put it where it belongs, at home.
Your place or mine, it's up to you.
Benihana. We either make them great or we don't make them at all.
Hi, I'm Bob Barker, and this is my friend Benny. Now, we have a little favor to ask of you. Before you buy any cosmetics, personal care, or household products, please be sure that it has not been tested on animals. Every year, millions of animals have everything from floor cleaner to shampoo dripped into their eyes and poured down their throats in cruel, unnecessary experiments. The animals suffer intensely. Some even go blind. The price is never right on products tested on animals. Please visit PETA.org for a list of cruelty-free companies. Benny here, and I will sure thank you.
It's that time of year again, and Cadbury has hatched up milk chocolate mini eggs for Easter, made with Cadbury's dairy milk chocolate. Inside the crisp sugar shell is a chunk of thick and creamy Cadbury's dairy milk chocolate. That's why mini eggs give you a chocolate experience that is so special. Although Easter isn't here yet, Cadbury's mini eggs are, so discover for yourself which comes first, the bunnies or the eggs.
The side dish steals the show when it's creamy Velveeta shells and cheese.
It's not the same. It's not the the good time chili. Clap hands for Hormel chili now. Clap hands for Hormel flavor. Great taste you're bound to favor. Hormel's the good time chili now. Oh, yeah. Hormel's the good time chili now.
Okay, it's time for the 11 etiquette guidelines to follow for respectful online interactions. You know, we've been talking about people getting trolled and harassment and bullying and all that stuff, and we'll have some very interesting news articles to talk to you about later on in a couple of months ahead before we go to our second anniversary in June. I tell you, we'll be talking about narcissism, sociopaths, all that harsh stuff that a lot of these trolls have in their brains, and we know that for a fact. So right now we're going to start with the etiquette guidelines to follow for respective online interactions. And you know what? There's 11 of them, and Lauren Shankman has the 11 here. But I tell you what, only a troll would disagree with what I'm about to say. Only a narcissist would disagree with the 11 etiquette online interactions because they don't care. So don't get caught using poor etiquette. Experts share the best practices for online behavior. It all happened so fast. In just under 2 decades, we've learned to communicate online through texting etiquette, email etiquette, and social platforms. From sharing family photos with faraway relatives to making professional connections and commenting on political or social issues you're passionate about. The online world is an open forum for sharing, and if you've ever seen online acquaintances duke it out in the comment section or cringed at old Instagram photos that haunt you before your job interview, you know that with advantages come etiquette pitfalls. Enter Netiquette, your guide to an online life that you can feel good about, no emotional hangover necessary. And just like it sounds, Netiquette is etiquette on the net. Even though online platforms can seem like the wild, wild west at times, there's no need to add to the chaos. The digital world still requires rules of conduct. We've asked 2 experts to give us their most important rules of the web. I think the most important rule for me is that as a parent, do not share your children's pictures or private information online, says Jennifer Zhu Scott, a technology executive and mom of 2. Because of user agreements, even when you post to a private account on platforms such as Facebook or Instagram, that content is no longer yours, she says. Additionally, others can screenshot or download your pictures and post without you knowing. Most of the time, trolls will never consent to even asking people before they start stealing other people's pictures. That's when you know you've got a troll on your hands. When your kids become adults, they can decide what content to share about themselves, but it's not fair to make those decisions for them while they're still children. Even on her private Instagram account, which is only visible to close friends and family, Zhu Scott never posts pictures of her children. I can't emphasize this enough. Honor your children's will when they can actually make their decision about what kind of digital presence they want as adults, she says. And don't take that away by posting pictures out there without their consent. It's important to remember that everything you do online leaves a digital footprint. If you wouldn't say something or use certain language in person, then refrain from doing it online. Tell that to a troll. Use common etiquette, including no name calling, cursing, or writing anything deliberately offensive, is all wise, whether you're writing an email, social media post, or conversing in chat rooms. Tell that to a troll. Privacy is freedom, says Zhu Scott. It's always easier to share than to take information back, so think twice before you share it. Tell that to a troll. Beyond improving your online security and avoiding sharing your data to online scammers, you must also keep in mind new technologies such as artificial intelligence, which can use photos and audio that we'll give away for free on our social media accounts. In the near future, I think it would be a complete privilege for a person to not have images of their lives online, she says. Via user agreements and data brokers, some third parties can use your voice, your face, and your image to create something completely against your will. So now might be the time to take a hard look at what you're putting out there. Tell that to a troll. We've all been there. We see a piece of incendiary content, and our first urge is to take action and share. It's super easy to get your blood boiling, but often What we see could be taken out of context, says Zhu Scott. Tell that to a troll. Headlines and social posts may be written in an attempt to anger users and keep their attention, not for some lofty purpose, but to make more money, she continues. When people get angry, they tend to interact with each other more, and the more attention someone can create, the more revenue dollars a piece of social media content can generate. Tell that to a troll. And the reason why I keep repeating that is because this is exactly the opposite of trying to, be more proactive. Trolls do everything against our will. Proper etiquette says to pause and fact check. Tell that to a troll. Without growing concerns about misinformation and disinformation, it's best to look at everything with a critical eye, says James Halbert, who studies online interactions and is an associate professor in industrial organization and psychology at Adler University. When you're finding information online, always go to the source. For Halbert and his students, that means tracing claims back to peer-reviewed articles rather than relying on Wikipedia. But sometimes Wikipedia does have the facts and they can be altered. It's good to keep a watchful eye on the material. It may not be true. Additionally, Zhu Scott says to remember that the online world is international. A piece of content may have a cultural context you're not familiar with, so think before you jump to conclusions. People have a tendency to use their own lens to judge other people without appreciating the cultural context, she says. Don't judge too quickly. Tell that to a troll. If it's a controversial topic you'd avoid at Thanksgiving dinner, consider avoiding debating about it online. Tell that to a troll. But if it's something you feel strongly about, there are certain ways to debate respectfully. How to try to tell that to a troll. And while online debates can be notoriously tricky, hence the term flame wars, which trolls like, Zhu Scott says you don't necessarily have to shy away from participating. I think having a debate on issues is a wonderful thing, she says, as long as you're open to learning. Yeah, try and tell that to a troll who thinks everything they know or they think is the right thing, and that's all they know. They don't know how to debate. They don't know how to see both sides of the story. Sure, the trolls have accused me of being one-sided as well, and yet they still have not been able to admit to the fact that I have given both sides of the story to both sides, okay? Instead of trying to overwhelm others with superior opinions, think of it as an exercise in mutual listening. Tell that to a troll. Where the desired result is that everybody learns more about the truth. Good luck trying to tell that to a troll. Good online debate etiquette means holding the spirit to seek for truth, even if the truth is very different from what I originally thought, Zhu Scott says. If you want to speak up in a cordial way about a troubling post, a good place to start is asking where the information came from, Halbert says. It's a way of challenging something without saying, hey, this is wrong, Halbert says. You have to take your emotion out of it, and focusing on whether the content is factual helps to do so. Tell that to a troll. If someone is offended by something you've posted or by a comment you've made, and you can sense things may become heated, Halbert has a simple etiquette rule. Take it offline. That's right. And I have done that too. I can tell you an instance where I had made a post with the Factor Crap game that we used to do back in the day. And one of my cousins started a whole debate about where the answer had come from and questioning me about it, but got everybody involved. And the debate got so heated that I disabled the comments on that particular subject. Well, I get a message back from the cousin that says, why did you do that? I said, because you really heated up such a debate that it got out of control. So I turned off the comments and will turn off future comments from this point on, because I'm not going to have drama in the Facebook groups for that matter. Drama is no good, people. When it gets to a point where where one person is telling everybody else that they're wrong and that they're out of context, no. Everybody has a right to their opinion. And if you can't accept that person's opinion, no matter how wrong or right they are, then you cannot continue the argument. Okay? A debate is upon opinions with facts. You must have both. From your fact, you draw an opinion. And if your opinion is off because of the facts, that's why it's called an opinion. Okay? Yeah. Okay. So let's see, where was I? I would call up my friend and say, hey, dude, what's going on? He says, when responding to a negative comment, rather than having a drawn-out fight on social media for the whole world to see, Halbert recommends trying to resolve the issue as solidly as possible, and to do that, he says it's better to pick up the phone. The problem is we don't call people anymore, he says. Posts and emails can be misconstrued because it's hard to convey it and detect tone. Perhaps your friend or you didn't understand how the post or comment was intended. A phone call can clear that up quickly, Halbert says. Don't confuse adding friends for being a good friend. Yeah. We may feel connected to distant family members or to old friends because we see their new post, but it's a false sense of connection, says Halbert. We don't know what they're struggling with. You know that when you talk to them on the phone every day, when you have a personal relationship with them. Research has shown that, especially for Gen Z, while socializing online can create a sense of connection, it can also elicit a sense of isolation, says Halbert. And that's because we tend to compare the overwhelmingly positive posts we see with our own more nuisance lives and feel that we fall short. It's important to remember that online connections cannot replace community and building in-person relationships. Halbert says, if the internet is your primary way of connecting with people, that's very dangerous. Not following netiquette rules can be just as damaging as resume mistakes. If your personal account is public, or if you only have one account for both professional and personal interactions, recognize how these two worlds are connected. And when you express yourself on social media, you should be aware of business etiquette because you're not always representing yourself. You're representing a lot of other people, especially as a professional, Halbert says. Before posting something, he always considers the context and the readers. Another solution is to maintain a public professional account and a personal one only visible to a small group of trusted friends and family, says Zhu Scott, who has opted for this approach. Sharing too much personal, sensitive information can be inappropriate and risky, she says, even if you're a social media influencer. If you are one of them, be smart about it and be strategic. Tell that to a troll. This netiquette rule of choose connections wisely can protect your privacy and professional image. Be careful about who you connect with, both experts say. Zhu Scott says she has learned how to say no. She's constantly turning down friends' requests with a polite message explaining why. As for Halbert, I'm very careful with whom I connect, he says. Rather than adding anyone who asks, he maintains a LinkedIn network of connections with students, colleagues, and professionals in his field whose work he admires. Rather than following particular content creators, he follows professional organizations. It's a matter of choice, folks. I get a lot of friends requests from my friends whose accounts have been hacked or compromised. And I have told those people after I have declined the request and reported the fake account that they need to change their passwords. And I say that strongly. If your Facebook account has been hacked or has been compromised and you get it back somehow by process of an appeal, then go ahead and do the one thing that hackers do not like: email password changes. They don't like it, and you should do that every 3 to 6 months or the year for that matter. So think about that, and that way you'll be able to keep your account from getting hacked, whatever it is, whether it's Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, for that matter. Although on YouTube, most accounts are never compromised or hacked into because YouTube does crack down on a lot of things. Wish they would get a little bit better, but it is what it is. And let's see. You may feel pressured to like everything that friends or professional connections post, just to be polite, but Halbert advises the opposite. First, liking or commenting on a post will encourage a platform's algorithm to show you more posts by that person or similar content, which works against you if you're using your account to stay abreast of what colleagues or friends are doing. But more important, most platforms will tell your entire network that you've liked a post, and for better or worse, that can become the basis for judgment, especially if it's a controversial or even an Instagram scam or a Facebook scam. Halbert reserves likes for professional work he truly admires. One etiquette rule that can help set boundaries for your own well-being is to consider reducing the number of social media accounts you use. You don't realize that an extra stressor you're putting in your life. Halbert says, when you've got multiple accounts, you have to check this one. You've got to check that one. You're afraid of leaving someone out. People are waiting on your response. What do they think about your response? All of this adds extra stress. And despite the fact that his research focuses on the online world, Halbert himself has only one social media account, his LinkedIn. He knows he would have more connections if he put his personal life across various social media platforms, but for him, that's a small price to pay for less stress. Very good article. Thank you very much. And, of course, Lauren Shankman. She's a fictional writer and journalist covering culture, literature, travel, and science, Reader's Digest, and others. She has an MFA in creative writing from Cornell University and undergraduate degrees in literature and physics from the University of Southern California. Read more of her work at laurenshankman.com. Okay, let's go now to the Daily Motivator and conclude this program. We don't have time for the what holiday is, so we'll do that tomorrow. We'll take a look at that tomorrow. All right, for today, Thursday, March 21st, 2024, the title of this one is called Richness of Who You Are. You don't have to know every answer. You don't have to witness every spectacle. You have no need to acquire every possession. There is negligible value in experiencing every possible sensation. Joy is found not in quantity, but in quality. Fulfillment comes as a result of discernment rather than unbounded accumulation. You have to allow many things to pass you by. That gives you the time, the space, the focus to invest yourself in what you care about most. Yes, you are always missing out on something. That's precisely what enables you to attend so well to all that truly matters. Let go of any anxiety or jealousy surrounding what you might be missing, and instead of trying in vain to grab all you can, live the richness of who you are, because you're worth it. Thank you, Ralph Marston, for that fantastic motivation of the day to get us going and to conclude this program tonight. I want to thank everybody for tuning in. I know we've had some pretty difficult topics to discuss today. And as I said, we'll be having at least one difficult topic that we're going to have to swallow hard on, because as we come to an election year, things are going to get a little bit tougher because everybody's going to be shooting out and spewing out information that could be misinformation. And you have to do the right thing by taking into account, is the information accurate? You could even say that the information we give you here is inaccurate, but draw your own conclusions, because we get our sources from pretty credible things. I know the Wikipedia can be controversial, but it gives you the best description, and for your own right, you can challenge it. Whatever the case is, I am truly proud to be your friend and to share the information that's out there with you. If you haven't had a chance to share it or access it, this is why this program is here. A lot of people would say that this program is biased, but again, prove me wrong. How biased? How are we biased? How are we not to have people on? People can come on the show if they want and discuss anything. We'll give you that full hour and a half if you really need to. Talk about whatever's on your mind, even if it's religion or politics for that matter. Controversial topics, remember, debates can be healthy, but the bottom line is we'll at least come to a compromise somewhere along the line. And whether I disagree with you or not should not be based on a friendship on that particular situation. Friends, even good friends, can disagree to agree. That's going to do it for us today on the program. Thank you very much for joining me. And remember, be honest, be real, and keep it simple, stupid kiss. Have a good night, and we will see you tomorrow for the Palm Sunday weekend edition. Till then, good night.
Don't forget to subscribe to the Gary Patterson Network for more great content like this one.